Do you know if you're eating right? Do you know if you're making the right food choices? In America, we're very busy. And as we get busier and busier, it's harder to make those right decisions when it comes to the dining room table. Let me try to shed a little bit of light as to maybe some baby steps you could take in your life right here, right now, to make improvements. Now, I'm not talking about diets. I'm not talking about some fad diet. I'm talking about lifestyle changes. Did you know as you walk into your grocery store, 75% of the items in that grocery store are processed? What do I mean by that? I mean they've added chemicals and preservatives, and those chemicals and preservatives are toxic to the human body. So those processed foods you want to try to stay away from as much as possible. Well, what's the alternative? You can try to eat more natural foods, local grown foods. Organic foods are great. Let me give you some examples of where you could find these items. If you go to grocery stores, like for example, Target, even Walmart, Publix in Florida, they have some of these. They have sections with just organic meats. Some other bigger retail chains like Whole Foods, Chamberlain's, Trader Joe's carry meats and vegetables and produce that are organically grown. Now, what does that mean to have a natural food product versus an unnatural? Let me give you an example. If you take a meat, for example, beef, that the cattle, they're injected with growth hormones so that it takes a shorter amount of time to grow to a certain size to be butchered. Now, also they're fed corn. Corn is not a natural diet for the cows. Grass is. So because the cow's not eating properly, they get sick more often. And when they get sick, they're shot with antibiotics and tetracyclines. Again, more chemicals into the food product. So my suggestion to you would be either go to a natural health food store that carry organic meats or maybe a local farmer's market. I find myself, I go approximately once a month to a local farmer's market and I find a lot of alternatives. I can get chicken, pork, beef that's naturally raised without all the chemicals and the growth hormones and the antibiotics. Now, on the other side of the coin, if you will, with vegetables or fruits, it's a similar story. All the fruits and vegetables you find at a grocery store is full of pesticides, insecticides, basically Miracle-Gro, and just a bunch of chemicals. And those are toxic to the human body. You don't want those in your body. Those kinds of things will eventually lead to cancer. So what can you do? Well, again, the big stores that carry organic produce sections, even the Chamberlain's, the Whole Foods, the Trader Joe's, or yet again, the local farmer's market. Now, I understand that if you live up north, you might not be able to do a farmer's market during the winter time, but relatively speaking, farmers markets are a really good resource of where and how to find natural fruits, vegetables, and meats. If we go off the topic a little bit about what to eat specifically, let me talk a little bit about processed foods and the chemicals in them. Did you know that sugar is in pretty much everything nowadays? So is salt. There are many other chemicals that are in foods that you might not be aware of. For example, in 1910, we used to consume approximately 1 pound of sugar per year. In 2010, it was estimated that the average American consumes approximately 210 pounds of sugar per year. Wow, that's like almost a pound a day. Where does it all come from? It's in all your drinks and all your food products if they're processed. Now, you might think to yourself, sugar isn't necessarily a chemical, but there are many other things that if you were to read a food label, you can barely pronounce or even not pronounce at all. And they're just chemicals thrown in there to make taste, add taste or make things taste differently or to preserve. So you want to try to stay away from that. My rule of thumb is if you saw it on a TV commercial, if it's advertised, it's probably not natural. Another rule of thumb is if it's prepackaged or it comes in a box, or a plastic container, more than likely it's processed and you want to stay away from it. So we want to try to stay away from diets, but rather we want to go into baby steps to making this a lifestyle decision. You want to try to make changes in your life that are common sense for you and your family. They're going to be easy because remember, as Americans, we're very busy in this fast-paced world. So what are some of the other things that you could do? Well, one of the things I would recommend is if you want to delve deeper into this matter, there are 2 movies I recommend for you. One of them is called Food Inc. The other movie is called Food Matters. There are other movies than just these two, but these are, for the layperson, very easy to understand, and they dissect the problem in America from A to Z about how our food is manufactured and how our food is very dirt cheap, relatively speaking, compared to other countries, but we suffer for it. I have a saying in my office: you pay for it now or you pay for it later. You can save on your food bill by eating the McDonald's and the Subways and the Chick-fil-A's and the Wendy's, but later on in life, you're going to pay for it with your health. You're going to get sick. Whether it's cancer or heart disease, you're going to pay for it. So think of your future, not just the here and now. One of the things that I would recommend is, even if you eat or you try to eat as well as you can, supplements, nutritional supplements are needed in today's world. Two schools of thoughts here. One of the things I would relatively speak in favor of is try to do a natural supplement versus a synthetic supplement. As a rule of thumb, if you walk into a GNC or Costco or Sam's, those supplements are dirt cheap, or sometimes you get little catalogs in the mail and they're dirt cheap, but they're not good for you. Your body only absorbs 17% of synthetic supplements. So what I would recommend for you is ask your chiropractor. Most chiropractors are extremely knowledgeable in supplements and nutrition, or you can go to foods like Whole Foods, Chamberlain's, natural health food stores that are versed and can help you make right decisions. Here's a few tidbits that are going to be helpful for you. One of the things I would recommend as far as supplementation would be this. A natural supplement, yes, but a multivitamin is needed for everyday life. A multi-mineral as well, okay? Then I would recommend a probiotic. The probiotics are basically the friendly bacteria that live inside of your gut. Those make up 80% of your immune system. So a good probiotic is needed in today's world. Because we overcook our foods and we don't tend to steam a lot of things or eat raw nowadays, I would recommend also digestive enzymes. That'll help so many people that have acid reflux and digestive issues. Another thing that I would recommend for everyone would be vitamin D3. Because we work indoors a lot and we don't get out in the sun as much as we should, because the sun creates vitamin D3 in our body, it's an epidemic really. As Americans, we're just deficient in vitamin D3, and that's another one that I would recommend. So ask your chiropractor, try to find some resources, maybe start with those two movies I mentioned, because if you make these baby steps in your life now, it'll save you heartache and headaches later on in life, not only for you, but your family. So ask your chiropractor what he or she can do to help you with lifestyle decisions about food and your diet, and you should be on your way to a better, healthier life. Thank you.